games. He said, actually, practice has been really good. Our results in scrims have been surprisingly good. So, Froggen said,
25
scrims
minutes?
don't matter, but Echo Fox, I think, might be a real sleeper here this season.
Yeah, Froggen talking about how they were like, we're shooting for like 25-minute games, so we can actually speed things up and close them out like scrims. But
Froggen playing 25-minute games just feels weird.
right? It's just it shouldn't exist in this world. It's the darkest timeline.
We are here in the darkest timeline. Cop Elimination would actually fight against each other in bot lane a few seasons ago. Now they're fighting against each other with the notebooks behind the teams here being coaches. It's fun to see players shifting around. I got to talk to Jess, one of the analysts for Dignitas as well. He's saying, like, yeah, he feels better being in the back lines as well. So interesting seeing players mature as their careers progress. Nidalee Gangplank, Tom Kench off the field. No Nidalee for Rush. I think that's a very smart choice. Meanwhile, smattering of champions away from Echo Fox.
A lot of things still available.
Like Anivia.
Yeah. You wouldn't first pick that, though, would you? Probably not. Probably not contested. But I do want to go back to High and his shot calling here, because in a lot of people's eyes, Cloud9 really doesn't function without High. And yesterday, what happened with Cloud9 is they got caught off guard by some picks. They didn't know how to adapt with that Cho'Gath in the top lane. And then also, they got in a position where they're playing from behind. And that was one of High's biggest strengths, was he was one of the best shot callers in the world at playing from behind and never giving up and finding ways to play the map and get them back in the game. And they seem to lack that without him. But now, him back in there, the question is, does his shot calling outweigh his lane performance, and can Cloud9 actually kind of shore that weakness up and play
absolutely.
Their game?
Yeah, Sneaky, one of the very best AD carries North America has ever seen, and him getting out of lane well is definitely a big deal for the Cloud9 roster. So High, his first competitive game as support. This is going to be important to watch for. Lysandra picked up for KFO or maybe Froggen for Echo Fox, but C9 grabbing Fiora for balls. Blind-ish.
Yeah, blind-ish. Fiora is okay into Lysandra. The way that people adapt for her build is you actually build Jarm's Fist first while you work towards Titanic Hydra. Hold on to Titanic Hydra so that you don't get burst out by her and you don't have that threat on you. Then when you complete Black Cleaver, you swap it over to Ravenous Hydra. And then when you get full build again, you have the option, do I really want that auto attack reset for Vitals? Do I want to be able to actually have that HP that I've gained from all my other items to synergize? So you get to make these types of trade-offs, but that's typically the build you'll see to avoid getting burst out.
Nice to cast with someone who likes talking about items as much as me. So thank you, Zyrene, for making me feel a little bit more sane. As Froggen hovers the Anivia, because why wouldn't you? As time ticks down, Echo Fox do have to decide what they want to do. I think you leave the Lysandra up as a flex for a bit longer and pick some of the other roles here. It looks like it will be Jungle Rek'Sai and AD carry Misfortune picked up. MF, after the 6.1 nerfs, Make It Rain now does 90 less damage at rank 5. And it's my first time seeing her.
It hasn't actually fallen off as much as you would have thought because of the 90 damage.
Played it earlier as well.
Yeah. It's just so strong. If somebody like plays Morgana and lands a binding, and then you're able to follow with a full bullet time, you pretty much need somebody with like Braum to stand in front of them or Windwall to stop it, because they're going down. And also, E wasn't always used just for the damage. It would apply very quickly, but people could get out of it. The slow is incredibly good, 60%, and then also it just makes Thunderlords go off immediately for great harass in lane.
My personal favorite MF dual lane combo is Misfortune Soraka, because both of those zones are cast from so far away, and while you're silenced and slowed, you cannot escape the zone. You are guaranteed to be rooted, and you're guaranteed for the combo to come through. It's actually pretty insane. I saw it come out of China in week 1 of the LPL, and I was like, this is now officially my best bot lane of all time.
Yeah, actually, I favored Morgana as the bot laner, because you both put down zones, and then Thunderlords goes off on both.
Silence zone is better.
But it doesn't tick off Thunderlords, and you don't take Thunderlords.
Who cares? You instant kill them. Either way, Elisa and Caitlyn coming through here for Sneaky. He used to be one of his better champions, but we haven't seen a lot of Caitlyn after the changes. But trap spam and long range and headshots galore. Of course, the Elise for Rush, he should feel great on an early game pressure jungler.
Yeah, see what he can do on that. His performance yesterday was not up to the bar that we know Rush to have, and not going for the Lee Sin despite it being open. So a little bit of a different kind of a look here for Rush. But Sneaky on Caitlyn, it's an old classic of his, but at the same time, Caitlyn has that new look to her. She's able to actually have these great long-range headshots if you land somebody in a trap, or if you hit him with a 90 caliber net. I was talking with Dyrus on the desk, and he was saying he's very surprised that Caitlyn wasn't picked up, because when you looked at her numbers early on when she was reworked, they looked really good. You're sitting there going, 1,000 damage crits. That should be insta-pick. But she wasn't actually picked up, and she wasn't as effective as her numbers showed. So I'm curious to see what Sneaky does here.
And meanwhile, Sneaky just getting farther and farther away from some pretty good zone control champions, right? Get away from a Bullet Time, get away from Anivia, get away from Lysandra especially, who loves to prey on AD carries. And Twisted Fate gonna be the last lock in here. TF versus Anivia. Welcome back to like season 2, everybody. These champions have never gone away, and they're definitely back right here. So putting the whole lineups together, a lot of engage tools from Cloud9, and Echo Fox actually have a number of ways in as well.
Yeah, Echo Fox has a lot of wave clear here, so the Twisted Fate as an answer has this global pressure where you can actually split a lane on the other side where Froggen isn't there with the Anivia, because it's so annoying to try and siege a turret against an Anivia. She's just going to clean it out immediately. Yep. So I like this pickup here. It's also going to add some wave clear to their own composition, but I actually think a lot on this is who gets pressure in that top lane. Because what KFO is going to try to do is help engage these fights on Lysandra, maybe flank, try and get involved in the 5-on-5. Balls is going to try to split push. Balls is going to try to be a force that takes turrets for his team, and if he can actually get a large edge over KFO, then he can just take over the game, and the Anivia won't be as impactful because you can only hold one lane at a time.
Absolutely. So as we get ourselves ending champion select and the coaches walk over after their closing remarks for the teams, Cop wondering, where's my opponents? There we go, elimination showing up.
You only get so much time. Get off the stage.
Yep. Well, it was lane swap for a bit. Cop was alone in that mid lane for a little while. Lemon finally showed up to roam.
Lemon was always like that, man. Sneaky's just farming in the lane swap. Yeah.
It's okay, we're good. Now, guys at home, head over to Twitter. Let us know who's going to take this game. Send your votes to @Elevable Esports with the hashtag FoxWin or hashtag C9Win. Let us know who it's going to be. Echo Fox right now 1-0. Could end the week in first place. Cloud enough to a rough start against Immortals yesterday, but now could answer back, be one of the middle of the pack teams at 1-1. Here we go into the game. Who's it going to be? Let us know. There's a player I want to point out as well in Echo Fox, which is Hard. So we've seen a lot of North American Challenger Series players get promoted this season, picked up on new teams, half the Team Liquid roster, Hard in this case right here on Echo Fox. In the first game, he was successful off just the entire team just dogpiling on Froggen's ult targets. Now he's up against Rush, one of the very best junglers of the 2015 North American LCS. A very big test now in Hard's second professional game here.
I'm actually very curious as well because Hard used to be on the C9 Challenger team, now going against them. I don't know how much information they actually have on his style or his tendencies, but Hard also was a guy that never really responded incredibly well to pressure. He's a little bit hot-headed. He's very stubborn. He'll go in and make it
hard-headed, maybe?
Hard-headed, maybe. But maybe he's short up that tendency with giving Froggen and Big stylistic choice over the team of playing a little bit more reserved and them calling the shots. So I want to see what he does on this Rek'Sai, but also he's against Rush, right? Rush, yep. High-pressure jungler, and Hard was somebody who fell to Shrimp a couple times because of the pressure that he was exerting on the map.
And we'll see how well they can do as minions have spawned, the jungle monsters coming in as well. Hard and KFO will be starting on the top side of the map. Hard will end his route down towards the bottom. We will have mirrored lanes for ourselves, although Balls will show up very late to this lane. Both teams expecting a bit of a lane swap, and then they realize, no, we need to go get ourselves some gold. Balls spotted running past the red buff with the early trinket ward placed down, and the one-on-one will begin. Meanwhile, the 2-on-2 Sneaky and High versus Keith and Big.
Wow, Balls actually missed 0 CS there. He missed the numbers, but he actually got the experience. Okay. So he turned the corner right as they were coming down, and that was really nice. So he's not going to be able to get pushed out of this lane at the level 2 that you would expect to have a large advantage for when you get to the lane that early over your opponent.
Fortunate timing then for Balls to at least get the experience. And again, it's melee versus range. You're going to miss a lot of CS anyway just via the matchup. So failing those 3 CS actually is less impactful than you might think, and you might not have got them regardless. High walking pretty far forward, trying to zone out some CS. The team will be level 2 first. Echo Fox knew this, had to play far enough back, but High not learning the headbutt, doesn't want to instill fear, is going to keep Sneaky's health up.
Yeah, they did see the E, so that means that Fox is going to sit there and say, basically, he doesn't have his combo, right? He has Flash Pulverize, but the follow-up is pretty much non-existent. He'll make a play if he's going to at level 3. Yeah. And touching on something that Froggen talked about in that sound clip that we heard earlier, High on an engaged champion. He's got the go button for his team, so High is the shot caller with that in his hands. That's really what you want to see here from somebody who's stepping into this role for the first time. Give them the power to actually make it happen.
Now we got to see if he can do just that. One of the very few tanks on the team. He was playing mostly tank junglers. Well, a decent number of tank junglers, I should say, when he was jungling for Cloud9 last year. So fits a lot of the team fight roles pretty well. Froggen getting really pushed around by Jensen right now. Exact equals CS, but Froggen really getting chunked out quite a bit. Jensen has not used any potions. Froggen will only be at half health after this one.
Yeah, I'm quite interested. Rush actually put down this ward here off on the left. Went and cleared Scuttle, so he has a retreat path if he gets caught here. But his smite's not up yet, and neither is Hard's.
Oh!
There. Just barely goes over to Rush.
Right down on Keith, of course, highest. Be careful without having an ultimate. Can only survive so much damage, but Trey's going pretty close to equal. Right now, they're an 8 CS lead for Sneaky in his bottom lane. So far, the C9 duo with new support high is winning.
You don't get too much pressure from a Trundle early on. He can run up, but against somebody like an Alistar, you can actually mess yourself up with some pillars if he headbutts you and pulverizes you to the other side. So if he stays pretty relatively close to his AD carry, there's always that risk, right? So when you separate them, they can still collapse just on your AD carry. Rush, though, looking for a top lane gank here. He's going to try to tilt this matchup so Balls can get pressure later.
This could be bad for KF. For the stun lands during the right amount of time. He has no chance to teleport away. Perfectly executed gank here by C9.
Oh, speaking of gank.
Flash.
And good flash there. KFO not able to use his during that gank. Eats the cocoon because he had so much trust that he was going to get that E off. Just barely.
Honestly, a small miss by KFO as well. Of course, he could have popped the second half of E early to just get away from the cocoon. Not go full distance, but at least dodge it.
Yeah. You could do it either way. You could actually just flash and then take the rest of the E.
Sure.
Or you could take the E early and then flash. But Hard, though, oh, yep. He knows the flash is down, and camping for Froggen, camp for your star member.
Froggen has no mana. He can't stun. There's no follow-up there for the Anivia, but Sneaky on the wrong side of a pillar. You can see this combo. Lots of circles, and it does plenty of damage.
High going after Big there. A little strange, but
this could pop the egg. Ooh. Thunderlords, I think, was down after trading earlier.
Yeah.
Flash, pulverize. Here comes Rush for kill number 2. Keith, now to get spot. A good pillar buys some time. Summoner heal. They want him. They're going to get him. Sneaky, second kill of the game.
And High with the go button there. That's exactly what you want to see for Cloud9 if you're one of their fans. High with the calls, and Balls with the pressure.
Yeah, he got a gank. He got a gank from Rush. He got first blood gold as well. He's got a Tiamat. He's got to feel good.
Yeah, you really have to respect a lot of the playmaking potential in that bot lane, but you also have to respect the fact that now Balls has that kill. He has the Tiamat early, and he's going to be able to actually take on KFO, who has no damaging stats at the moment, aside from the Doran's Ring. So when you go for the Rod of Ages, the build-up to it is pretty much just sustained stuff.
How long does it take? Ages.
That's why they call it that.
Well, yeah, it's not even that funny of a joke. It was already built into the item name.
Because it takes ages to stack up, but now it takes ages to build, and you're weaker during.
I mean, it was always that way. It was always Catalyst plus a Blasting Wand, I think, literally always. So it's just how it is, man. Catalyst used to be way more overpowered, though. It was worth so many stats before. But that was years ago. Catalyst now.
Talk about items.
Hey, man.
Down the rabbit hole.
This is very deadly for us, yeah. But Bunny Food's not in this game. All right, so 1,200 gold lead for Cloud9. Rush has managed to give the kills over to the correct people as well. He is ganked, but only got an assist, so Balls is ahead, Sneaky's ahead, and that is a good thing for Cloud9 fans here.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Rush or Jensen move their pressure back down to this bottom lane where High is, because when the shot caller is in a lane, you usually actually gravitate towards them, and with the summoner spells of Fox down in the bottom lane, with Keith and Big vulnerable, if they press anywhere past that middle line of the lane, yeah, exactly. And also, C9 have some good wards that see people coming towards them, and they also have a pink ward in the top right.
God, this lane sucks. Look at these minions right here.
Yeah,
look how outnumbered this minion wave is. Sneaky can freeze this in perpetuity. Keith is basically not allowed to CS anymore without getting potentially ganked. Hard, they're going to go top lane. He's going to look to knock this guy down. Balls will have to burn Flash. Not wanting to risk trying to riposte a knockup.
Look at that. You saw Jensen actually on the minimap go off to the right side, and then the bottom lane of Fox just says, okay, we'll take Krugs. Krug time. Krug life.
It's worth half a wave-ish.
Balls, though, with the pressure, he actually got to see Hard back, so they have full information on where the jungler is at the moment, but not anymore.
Now they know he's somewhere in his own jungle. That's where all the Rek'Sai tunnels were, so guess where one of the buffs might be and move on from there. Jensen got the blue buff donated. which means Echo Fox can infer Rush's location, at least on the bottom side. Hey, bot lane, be careful.
Oh, everybody looks like it's going to be a party in this bot lane here. Balls has TP, but so does Jensen. So that could be a very outnumbered fight very quickly with Rush sneaking up the back of this lane.
Balls has got a much better teleport.
Here comes Jensen.
Okay, here comes the dive. TP being burned. Here comes everybody at all. Keith locked up under his turret. There's the damage. Jensen staying alive because the turret is still on high. He was tanking it. Walks away just in time. Drops the aggro. Perfectly executed dive by Cloud9. 2 for 0. No casualties.
5-man in the bot lane. C9 can pick up this turret as well with the pressure that they have. And oh, our screens are gray.
Yeah. See, this is now the first-person view of the Echo Fox bottom lane. The screens are gray until you can respawn and act again. It's funny, shush.
I love how you're the one who's like, it's funny to me.
No, I respect the players. They're very good. I'm just making jokes about how C9 is crushing this game right now.
But the big part of why that was able to happen is KFO doesn't have TP. They were well aware of it because when the gank happened top to get balls that first kill, KFO TP'd back so he wouldn't have a large level disadvantage, which against Fiora, if she hits 6 first, can actually 1v1 you rather easily. And so he had his summoners down, and thankfully he got a gank in return. But the fact that his summoner is down and Balls has his and was just hanging on to it made the whole difference there.
Yeah.
But Froggen backed. Jensen, no tabs on him, able to come down bottom as well. So
very intelligent stuff right there. So Cloud9 making very intelligent plays, communicating summoner cooldowns, communicating the lane situation as well. And that's what's so scary, right? When you're a summonerless bottom lane. And by the way, real quick to see what this pause is about, Big is reporting some keyboard trouble. So we pause this game. We're going to figure out what's going on with him. But hopefully this will be back underway soon. But yeah, so bot lane was in the worst possible situation. They burned summoners and still died into a gank. So now for 5 minutes, they are summonerless and escapeless and are still potential prey. If the lane pushes towards the enemy turret, they can get dived by TF.
Yep.
If lane pushes towards their own turret, High is level 6 and Alistair dives it, ignores the turret, you still die. There is really no play Echo Fox could have made for that bottom lane to stay reasonably afloat.
And the thing as well here is that this bottom lane, without the summoners that you were talking about, you're pretty much going to expect this. I said even before it happened, High's in the bottom lane. You're going to expect a lot of people to come down to whatever lane has the shot caller. And it happens all the time. If the shot caller is a top laner, you usually are calling the jungle to your lane and vice versa, right?
It just plays on natural tendencies. If you're naturally vocal, you're just going to be better at communicating what's going on in your lane. And if one of your lanes says, hey, Flash is down bot lane, as a jungler, you should probably go there.
Yes.
If no one else says anything, you're like, well, go to this bot lane right here.
Just like, I like gold.
Yeah, yeah. And 4 assists here for Rush. He's been perfect so far. We can watch that dive again and watch High's engage.
Yeah, Froggen isn't even back to lane just yet. And there we go. High into the back line. Hard doesn't even get to knock him up. Keith knocked against the wall, knocked up as well. And High has aggro, pops the ulti, so he's not even going to go down from the turret, and he's saving everybody here on his team. Just a nice cleanups there. Summoner spell advantage, and also just positioning advantage at the start, as well as level 6 coming out as well.
And so as much as Echo Fox's bot lane couldn't have done much, I think they needed Hard and Froggen to pressure mid lane. If Jensen can't show up, that dive is much less likely, and you just keep pressuring that earlier flashless TF, and that I think was the only pressure point Echo Fox could have had to try to alleviate strain until the flashes came back up. Hard to do, though, and either way, a much better execution by Cloud9, solid lead by these guys, and this is what you expected out of Rush and what you expected out of High.
Yeah, and the problem is that when you get in that scenario, you're pretty much already going to die. Because what the mistake wasn't that play was able to happen, it's that you blew the flashes on the previous one. But speaking of making plays, though, Sneaky all alone.
And a pillar stops him up, so Sneaky's got nothing to do right here. Has to walk forward away from bullet time. Keith pulls aggro. He's going to survive this, though, and get his first kill of the game. Oh. And High, out of nowhere, over the wall. Flash burn. Froggen ice walls himself off. Cocooned by Rush, though, is in range. Burns the egg, and who's going to get the gold? They can give to whoever they want. Jensen takes it 5-1 Cloud9.
That wall almost able to keep Rush out, but the cocoon over it, and just the CC back-to-back. That's one of those moments as well. People are able to collapse on you, but they do get a turret on the bottom side as an answer for this one that's going to go down in the mid lane.
And that's the price of your support roaming. You can go into that lane right away. They do pick out Sneaky well, but of course C9 getting more because their team is able to stick.
Yeah, and exactly. KFO, he's pulled to the middle lane because they don't want to lose the tier 2, and they need to have wave clear here. That's going to give Balls the top lane turret. No problem. He's just been free pushing this entire time.
And he's getting farther and farther ahead in farm. There's also the Joram Zist you talked about during the pregame as well. Ball's getting a little bit of health to make sure the matchup goes well. And Balls can even freeze this lane. It's like to play the lane swap game, but, you know, 15 minutes later, well, 10 minutes later, I should say.
A little bit of a miscommunication, too, at least in my opinion, is KFO used his teleport to be a part of that 3-man dive, and he didn't even end up with an assist. So now he doesn't have TP. Balls will have it ahead of him again, and now Balls has the opportunity to make another play on the Fox team.
That was one of the concerns with mixed language teams here. Echo Fox, you know, picking the best players they can find, but sometimes that doesn't always work out for communication. We've seen TSM have a slow start because of not language, but coordination issues with a new roster, and some teams are slower starters. Echo Fox, you're seeing some of the teams because of that.
Also, it could just be too many resources, right? Fox is a new team overall, and Big, we know he has a lot on his shoulders with the shot calling here. So if he's saying, we need to dive this and get everybody here, it's just too many resources, just an overcommitment. And then you lose a lot more on the other side of the map.
Yeah.
So when you're ending up in the LCS with teams that are going to punish you like this, you have to expect it.
But Echo Fox still making some good plays. You can see they've come back right into the mid lane. You can see the dual lane of C9 already went up to the top despite the outer turret being gone. And it means Echo Fox is able to jump in there, get what they wanted. And the turret score getting closer to equal, but of course the kills still have C9 at a pretty distinct advantage.
Yeah, about 4,000 gold here. Balls with complete pressure in the bottom lane. And you can see here, KFO went for Catalyst, got his boots because they're very cheap, but then he starts going for a Seeker's Arm Guard just because he needs some type of defense to survive. So he's delaying his Rod of Ages even more. It's literally going to take ages now.
Like, I think you're actually more durable by just finishing the Roa than actually going towards Arm Guard. Arm Guard's 1,200 gold, Roa's okay, about 1,400-ish. Like, it's a bit more expensive from where he is right now, but it's just more stats that way. I think it's actually just flatly incorrect by KFO right now.
But instant gratification. I want the armor.
It actually also has to stack up, by the way. Like, it's not even like it's a better mechanic in terms of right now getting stats. Oh, well, it's not the biggest deal in the world, to be completely honest. I just like to nitpick. Sneaky high. I almost said Sneaky Lemon, by the way, even though he's not in the game. It's just, it's been 2 years of that, like, being the lane 2.5 now, so.
Yeah, you just got me right there. I was like, have I ever said Lemon this game yet?
During the coaching part, yeah.
Yeah.
But Sneaky and High, yeah, pushing this lane up together. High absorbing quite a bit of XP. He's actually fairly high level for support, level 8 right now.
Noggin, not there for the wave clear just yet, so we'll get some pop shots on this turret. He's actually going back to mid because it's being shoved by Jensen, but simultaneously bot lane is being shoved by Balls, who has a Titanic Hydra to just components here from KFO.
Yeah, it's getting grabbed. Well, we've realized that Korean Challenger is less than NA Diamond 2. Balls is winning his lane against KFO. Proof is right here in this game. Has nothing to do with rush ganking for the lane at all. Cloud9 continue to do very well in this game, though. 4,000 gold up. Top lane tier 2 taking a lot of punishment. Won't get killed just yet, but now with Jensen coming over, they're really going to put the damage in. One more hit will do it. Oh, Sneaky! Oh, that was a mistake. He has to burn Flash to get away. Heal burned as well, and the team's going to try to re-engage. Turret finally goes down. But that was not the right play. Rush will get dropped down. One kill in for Keith, and now High, the next casualty of war. That's what Cow even stands for. Double kill now for Keith. That's going to be good for Fox.
And if we've learned anything about Keith from his time that he's been subbing in the LCS previously, it's that you don't want to feed him because he is such a good team fight placement AD carry that he can run away with a gold lead. So Keith, with that misfortune, good ultimate across the team, but he's going to keep doing that over and over again in C9. This game is very punishable if you actually push up that far.
And think about the Echo Fox lineup. Every single one of these champions has some decent way to set up for bullet time. The Trundle Pillar, the Anivia as well. Watch this one.
That canceled auto from Sneaky. Sneaky gets over the wall, and then High pops his ulti saying, I need to kill this turret. Walks up for it, but everybody else tries to follow him forward because they think that after they get the turret, they have the opportunity to continue dealing damage because they don't have that structure attacking them anymore.
Yeah, but a very disruptive bullet time. Honestly,
oh yeah.
Chunk the tanks to half.
And it made Sneaky flash away.
Yeah, he burned both summoners to be at 3/4 health and out of range of the fight.
Yeah. Flash away, he's on the other side of the Anivia wall now, and then he has to walk all the way around to start getting more damage. And Rush, just very aggressive as well, simultaneously. It's a little too far forward.
Okay, so Echo Fox is linking in as best they can, but that deficit is still pretty large because +2 kills or not, a tier 2 turret is worth almost that much gold as well. Dragon #1 on the field now for Cloud9, so even more stats for them. And they keep the lead.
And you notice almost immediately that the rotational game from Cloud9 is instantly up from where it was yesterday.
Yeah.
Like, we were looking at Fox, and Fox was actually having great roams where Big was able to get out of lane and make plays in Froggen's lane and get him ahead. That hasn't happened at all. He has to babysit Keith because High's pressure on this Alistar, he's just going to destroy Misfortune if she's anywhere close to him. He has flash available, and all of these things just culminate to where Big doesn't get to roam. Big doesn't get to make plays, and C9 now, they've opened up the map for themselves and get to make even more.
Let's see what's next for them. Jensen's got to feel pretty good about this one. Plenty of cooldown reduction in his build. The Lich Bane is going to be next up there. I'm sure he can get his next few items in, but 20 CDR in his build already. He's going to be able to get plenty of bolts out. And you can see C9 not trying to push that hard. You saw how slowly Sneaky was killing minions. They want these lanes to be away from the Echo Fox turrets to find those picks.
Yeah, and TP available for KFO. KFO now not even completing the Seeker's Arm Guard, going towards his Rod of Ages, but he has the opportunity to make a play on a squishy member. Sneaky has no flash when he flashed the Anivia wall, so they're well aware of this might be a window that they're able to exploit a tiny bit on Echo Fox's side.
I feel bad for KFO. He's had so little gold, he's just forced to buy components. You can see he, like, I feel like he recalled with like 750 gold, couldn't get a blasting wand, so he bought like a cloth armor and an amplifying tome, and then said, okay, well now I can start putting together Rod of Ages, and just like has had crappy recalls. And it's unfortunate, like that happens to you sometimes.
Unlucky.
Yeah.
Literally unlucky.
Literally unlucky in you know, in almost exact terms here. So still, C9 trying to play these extended lanes. Top lane tier 2 is dead, so there's actually a lot of room to jump into KFO as well up there alongside Balls.
And C9 are going to go for 1-3-1s almost always now because High has the engage potential to dive in if there's a numbers disadvantage for Fox, so he's able to dive turrets rather easily. Jensen and Balls both have ways to get there, and Froggen doesn't really have a way to answer. He'd have to rotate early, but then there's more threat with this Lich Bane on Jensen to actually take a turret if Froggen leaves it unattended.
No, Frog's got to be careful. He does walk down to the bottom tier 2 for a second and then realizes, wait, mid got pushed in, I got to go back, but High goes for the engage. Bit of damage in the heart. He's still pretty durable. And look at that bullet time. Dropping 2 of the tanks down to about half HP. High's got to take some time regenerating that health.
You can just see how everybody on the minimap is positioning. Jensen gets out of vision of Froggen and goes around the side where Raptors are. And he just waits. Is this the opportunity for me to go without getting stunned by Anivia? And Froggen's now coming down as Jensen is pushing this wave. They're just playing this game back and forth. And High, he's a very micromanaging shot caller. He will say, go forward, go back. He likes to play chess with all the members of his team.
Yep, but this created a situation though. Jensen with a Lich Bane getting some very significant damage in this tier 2 turret. He knows Balls right up to the side. Block out the red card, throw some more attacks down. Be a little bit careful, but you can see he's able to keep the right range. And with Froggen forced to defend that bot lane 3-man push, some pressure goes into the mid.
About 1 more hit left on that turret, but we saw what happened last time there was 1 hit on a turret.
Yeah, 2 kills for a turret.
Just gotta get it.
At one point that'll happen. Who's gonna get the kill?
On the turret?
Yeah. Who's gonna be the guy that goes for it?
I don't know.
I'll give you 2 people.
Okay. Jensen Sneaky.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah! 2 range champion!
Alright, well, Balls and Rash taking the easy duo on to the Rift Herald. Rush gets the kill, Balls gets the relic. And he'll probably walk to bot lane would be my blind guess here.
Yeah, I assume so as well. We haven't seen a TP or a Destiny play in a long time now from C9. They do have that pressure and that opportunity though, and this is mostly from champion select and as well as the summoners that Froggen decided to take for himself.
Farm Alarm comes back out, Rek'Sai back on the map hard. Buying up components of a Dead Man's Plate to go alongside his Swiftest Boots, so a very swiftly running Rek'Sai looking for potential engages. An AoE teamfight team to be sure here. Okay, Echo Fox do have ways of starting the fights, but it's basically start it, put on bullet time, hope it's enough. We'll see how well they can do. Blue buff easily going over to Froggen. He's going to keep having the wave clear here. Balls has shoved in the bot lane pretty successfully.
Looks like it's going to be another 1-3-1. Handing over the red to Sneaky though, and then they're going to probably meet in the middle actually as a 4-man unit.
Baron alive right now, Dragon in 110. There's not a lot of wards bot side. It's actually difficult for Balls to split push safely because he can easily be caught out here. Keith takes some poke. He'll have to regen that back before too long. He also fought in a while. 1,100 gold in Keith's inventory right now. And when you're already down a bunch of gold, your AD carry missing 25 AD, kind of a big deal. Echo Fox really trying to make a play here. Of course, Sneaky's being seen in the top lane, just shoving a wave in. But again, with the gold deficit, Echo Fox can't make a 4v3 do anything. Jensen's able to wave clear safely enough, and all is well.
Cut off balls. They're going to go towards bottom. They're going to try to flank him with 5 people, but at the same time, balls can possibly just stall them, and then they make a Baron call from C9. You're seeing that. They're going back and forth. They're saying, well, that's the risk. You saw the pings on Baron.
Yep.
So balls only has, looks like just hard coming after him. We're going back and forth.
You never quite know what's going to end up happening here. Of course, Fiora's such a dynamic champion. She can riposte the Lissandra ultimate, and then you just kind of laugh as nothing happened. He going for the fight right now. Doesn't block a ton, does not land a stun with the riposte, so he didn't block any major CCs here. High on the wrong side of a pillar, but there's just not much damage to do to him here. No chance to really commit. Rush now in the backs, and look at that. That wall. Making High burn the ulti. That is a very big deal.
Oh,
Big is no longer tanking. Now Jensen has to flash away as well. Some great pillars by Big and great walls by Froggen have burned 2 very important cooldowns from Cloud9.
There's a lot of ways to cut off terrain and escapes from this Fox team that if you're left in some type of choke point, Keith is just going to annihilate your squad.
And Cloud9 is now on the wrong side of the lane. They are all on the left side jungle. Echo Fox is here. They are ready to posture up. Now,
TP.
How much can they block off? Here's the TF ulti. Here's the teleport in from KFO as well. Balls on the side. Getting cut off. And Cloud9 castrated. The top laner has gone from this one. Sneaky now in the back lines, running away from KFO. And the shutdown comes through, though. Keith is dead and Sneaky is up. Now KFO on the wrong side of this one. Down he goes. A flash knockup, but Hard doesn't have the damage. And Jensen gets the killing spree, knocking down Big. Hard gonna be double killed as Sneaky gets farther and farther ahead. A 4-for-0 in favor of Cloud9.
And that was Cloud9 with the shot calling. Once again, the dividing. TP here, we're coming to back you up. And they also blew Jensen's ultimate to see everyone, to find the positions, and also to relocate. Really well played there. And there's the Baron falling into their hands. Froggen too far away to have anything to do with it.
Solid smite by Rush just to make sure. Big lead for Cloud9.
Good TP, good ultimate. Jensen also blocks off the bottom part. Now they're flanked from 3 angles, and they've committed to the right side. Rush then comes in to finish off Keith, and that's that big bullet time threat down. Now, they get the stun on KFO, 2 damage dealers down, and Froggen pretty much has to run for his life at this point. Walls himself off with everybody else dead.
And that's so unfortunate for Echo Fox. Keith actually had all his summoners and his ulti available in that fight. The fact that he got soloed out, didn't heal or flash in time, never got to do what he needed to do, huge, because that could have been a much better fight for them.
And that was the positioning of balls coming from the right, High from the left, and then Jensen from the bottom. At that point, if you call Keith as the primary target, you're at least going to get a headbutt pulverize on him, or a gold card, or you're just going to have Fiora damage all over him. But now Fiora damage
all over Hard right now, trying to get as many of the vitals as possible, and Hard will be killed. A giant heal, and Balls will survive through the bullet time.
Keith!
Keith knocked into the team. Beautiful play by High. Rush now on the chase as well. High gets aggro. That's pretty crucial for C9 right here. Rush just doesn't take enough damage even through the Lissandra ulti. And Cloud9 staying alive. The wave clear back and forth doesn't mean too much. C9 very far ahead.
High is never going to get to retire.
The Brett Favre of Cloud9.
That's true. He is a lot of C9's identity as well, their calls, but also a little bit of their face too. A lot of people think of Cloud9, they think of High. But his calls here, coming around the side, really good play to actually focus off Keith again. And I think that's pretty much C9's strategy, is go for Keith. He walks all the way around, he's just globetrotting. Walk through the turret.
He knows they have the dive.
I think that giving High Alistar from now on is probably a mistake, because he's a honey badger when it comes to turrets.
Does not care at all about any of this. Forcing the flash away from KFO. And that's actually, to kind of get into your point, I actually really agree. Part of the reason that High moved to support was that he wasn't going to be able to dedicate as much time playing solo queue because of his wrist injuries and wrist issues. And so the sort of less mechanically complex champions, like Alistar, who's been around since 2009, High's played Alistar before. He's done some headbutt pulverizes in his day.
All right, let's rework Alistar and make him have 50 things on his kit.
Well, Shen rework's coming eventually. One more tank High can't play, unless he learns it. Thresh, less likely for him, you know?
High's had to be very adaptive throughout his career.
Oh,
red buff! Oh, the minion!
Self-ult to heal. Oh.
That's so hard to time, though. You're just pretty much taking a guess there. Once again, Honey Badger.
Balls in the front row, posts a lot of the damage actually, blocks a Frost Flash, and wow, in they go. Big already gone. Calling small now with that. The team's forced to run away. Regrouping towards the inhibitor. Mid lane Inhib will be going down without much contest now, as a 1-for-0 puts Cloud9 up 12-3. 7 turrets to 2, 2 dragons to nothing. Now bot lane and him going to be next.
And there's this gigantic wave top as well. They could take that very quickly if they're able to rotate towards it, or if they want to. But at this point, you have all these damage dealers up from Fox. It's better to back away and let it go to KFO. C9 though, bouncing back from the Immortals game yesterday. Rush looks better. Rush looks more directed now as well.
Yeah.
He's making actual, like I'm watching him on the minimap, and he's making actually very strategic plays. Rush was always the instinct jungler to me, where he's like, I can make this play, and he would go for it. Now he's actually doing 1-3-1s. He's actually ganking the lane and being called down to where the flashes are down already, instead of blowing them in a crazy play.
Absolutely, and also, I mean, to me, I have to think about it a little bit in terms of like, when you're a jungler, you have to gank for lanes that can kill your opposing lanes, and like, balls up against KFO is very different from balls up against Tooney. Right? And jungling against Hard is different from jungling against Reyna over here. I think it's still many tests to be had for Cloud9, but it's good to see that they can beat I think we're going to assume sort of middle of the pack team. Froggen said so, they're a mid-tier team. Cloud9 looking very strong against a middle of the pack team then. And, you know, having to sort of rebuild the roster once again, high on a new role. This is maybe what you can expect from C9. You know, start in the middle, work up from there.
Yeah. High coming back in though, it's kind of strange expectations because you expect the shot calling to be there, but then you always have to question, well, how is his laning, right? Is he going to be able to actually hold up with support mains that will provide pressure?
Yeah.
Instead, he's calling people to the lane to give him pressure. He's basically making all of these feints. He's actually playing a very good vision game too, from what I've been seeing. The ward down bottom that's in that bush in his lane.
He was always the best warding mid laner.
Exactly. He's the highest warding mid laner, and that was carrying over. It's funny because High has all these skills that have carried over to his other roles.
It's very true.
Because remember when he played middle? He played a bunch of champions that ended up being able to be played in the jungle. He's like, Italy, let's play Gragas. Gragas is better now too.
And here we go, a bullet time hits basically nothing but the golden statue of Jensen. Hard force a flash away, and in comes balls yet again. Froggen about to be knocked out here. Plenty of damage coming through now, turned into an egg, and into the back line they go. Multiple kills now picked up for C9. A whitewash here, a 4-for-1, and now KFO left on his lonesome. Hits the Zonia, still gonna die. Nice time by Sneaky, lands the Piltover Peacemaker over the respawn on that one. 17-4. This should be the game under 30 minutes. Froggen got his wish. Shorter games, but unfortunately not a win for them. Cloud9 gonna end the first week 1-1.
And every split for the last few splits, we're just like, Cloud9's back. Well, they're looking in a new type of form here with Rush in the jungle and High now on support. The shot calling seems to be there. The rotational game was better than yesterday by far.
Yes.
There was only one hiccup here, and that was the turret dive, where it had 1 HP left.
Yeah, and honestly, Cloud9 are a good team. These are very good League of Legends players. Their shot calling is solid. Their synergy seems on point. But the North American LCS is so much harder now. When they first came in, summer 2013, they dominated, they crushed. They had one of the best records ever seen in the LCS until, you know, Fnatic did what they did last summer. And then it's gotten harder and harder and harder. And Cloud9 has had to slowly change and reinvent. There was a time where, I guess they still hold the record of the longest uninterrupted roster in LCS. And they finally made some changes because they needed stronger players. They needed some different synergies to stay relevant. And they are. They are very relevant. This is still a top flight team as far as North American League of Legends is concerned. And they just have to keep building up.
Exactly. We're talking about on that team when they made Worlds and quarterfinals and then they dropped to Fnatic. People were criticizing the high champion pool, and then people were talking about, well, let's get somebody new. And then eventually they moved to Jensen to try and make these changes because they thought they had peaked as a team where they hit a plateau. They aren't able to burst through, and so they're trying these different things. This one seemed to work out for this game, but Echo Fox, on the other hand, this team has a lot to do. They have a lot of work ahead of them. They haven't peaked just yet. They're not even close to plateauing. There's a lot of potential here with this squad. Keith, he got fed, but they were able to deal with it. Not as fed as he would have liked to be.
Yeah. Bit of a